Welcome back to Greatness Unlocked. If you find any value in the message you received today, hit the like and subscribe. Now hear me out. One of the worst things that can happen to anyone is to have an out-of-control ego. Many people may see your large ego as a sign of great confidence, but it is actually very repulsive. No one wants to be around someone who's always bragging, belittling others, and thinks they are better than everyone else. A person with an out-of-control ego will always make everything about themselves and what they did. There's no room for other people in their life because they think too highly of themselves. So here are 6 signs that you have an out-of-control ego. Number 1, you don't believe any criticism about yourself. Whether it is good or bad, you never take anything anyone says seriously. If someone gives you some sort of constructive criticism, you get very defensive and feel threatened by the feedback. You don't think you need to improve in any area of your life because you think you're already perfect. You think you're flawless, and sometimes even blame others for why you didn't do well at something. No one is perfect, and we all need to improve and grow as human beings. But if you have an out-of-control ego, you don't see this. You always think that you are better than everyone else. And when someone points out your mistakes, you react negatively because you think you did nothing wrong. 2, you feel entitled to special treatment. Because you have such a high opinion of yourself, you think that you deserve special treatment. You feel like the rules don't apply to you and you should be treated better than everyone else. For example, when a family member speaks badly of you, you complain to your parents, demand that they discipline them for what they said, and get mad when they don't do anything. Or you cut your friends off when they try to tell you something you don't want to hear. When you feel that you are above everyone else, you believe that you deserve more than other people and get angry when you don't get what you feel you deserve. 3, you think you are better than everyone else. People with out-of-control egos think that they are better than everyone else. They look down on other people and believe that they are superior. This type of thinking can be very harmful, not only to the people around them, but also to themselves. When you put others down, you give yourself a false sense of superiority. And when you constantly compare yourself to others and think you're better, you end up doing a disservice to yourself. It is important to remember that everyone is unique and has something to offer the world. No one is perfect, and we all have our strengths and weaknesses. So next time you catch yourself thinking that you are better than everyone else, take a step back and appreciate the unique qualities that each person brings to the table. For your self-esteem is dependent on other people. Your self-esteem is how you feel about yourself. It is your opinion of yourself. On the other hand, self-confidence is how you think others see you. And so, people with out-of-control egos tend to have low self-esteem. They constantly seek attention and validation from those around them because they don't feel good about themselves unless someone is praising them. They need to be told that they are good-looking, smart, or talented in order to feel confident. However, this is not true confidence. True confidence comes from within and does not depend on the opinions of others. When you feel good about yourself, regardless of what others think, you have a healthy level of self-confidence. But when you're always looking for compliments and attention, it is a sign that you have an out-of-control ego. 5. You lack empathy for other people. Do you care about other people's feelings? An essential part of being human is being able to understand and share the feelings of others. We all have the ability to empathize with those around us, to put ourselves in their shoes and see things from their perspective. However, people with out-of-control egos are unable to do this. They are too caught up in themselves and their own problems to care about anyone else. They believe that the world revolves around them and that everyone else's feelings are irrelevant. This is why people with out-of-control egos are often seen as being self-centered and inconsiderate. They are unable to connect with others on an emotional level, and this makes it difficult for them to form meaningful relationships. They may have many friends and acquaintances, but they are not truly close to anyone. 6. You always make things about yourself. As mentioned earlier, people with out-of-control egos are unable to see beyond themselves. They are always making everything about themselves, whether it is appropriate or not. For example, let's say your friend tells you about a problem they are facing. Instead of being there for them and offering your support, you end up turning the conversation back to yourself and your own problems. You might say something like, "Well, I know what it's like to go through something similar." Or, "This reminds me of a situation I was in once." This is not to say that it is wrong to share your experiences. However, when you are in the middle of someone else's story, you are showing them that you are not really interested in what they have to say. You are only focused on yourself and your own needs. This is a sure sign that you have an out-of-control ego. Having an out-of-control ego is a serious issue that can lead to many problems in your personal and professional life. It is important to be aware of the signs of an out-of-control ego so that you can work on correcting it. Correcting it will make you a better person, more likable, and happier. So, if you think you might have an out-of-control ego, take some time to reflect on these signs. Ask yourself if you are guilty of any of them. If so, make a conscious effort to change your behavior. Remember that everyone has room to improve. No one is perfect. So don't be afraid to lower your guard and be vulnerable. The people who really care about you will be there to support you through thick and thin. Here are some Bible-based scriptures that talk about the downfalls of the ego. Proverbs 16:18. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. This proverb is talking about how pride and arrogance often come before a downfall. It's a reminder to stay humble and not let your ego get the best of you. James 4 says, "But he gives us more grace. Therefore," he says, "God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble." This verse talks about how God doesn't like it when people are proud and arrogant, but he loves to help those who are humble. It's a reminder to stay humble so that God can help you. Luke 18:9. And he spoke this parable to some who trusted in themselves that they were righteous and looked down on others. 2 men went up into the temple to pray, one a Pharisee and the other a tax collector. In this parable, Jesus teaches us that we shouldn't think we are better than others and look down on them. He tells the story of a Pharisee and a tax collector who both go to the temple to pray. The Pharisee, who thinks he is better than everyone else, prays a long prayer, boasting about how good he is. Meanwhile, the tax collector, who is a sinner, simply asks God for mercy. Jesus then tells us that the tax collector, not the Pharisee, is the one who goes home right in the eyes of God. This is because the tax collector was humble enough to admit his faults and ask for help, while the Pharisee thought he was too good for God. Colossians 3:20. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise. This verse is telling children to listen to and respect their parents. It is also reminding parents to treat their children fairly and with love. By obeying our parents and treating them with respect, we are showing them that we love and honor them. This is an important lesson for everyone, regardless of age. All of us need to remember to be respectful and obedient to those who are older or more experienced than us. Ephesians 5:21. Submit yourselves therefore to God. Resist the devil and he will flee. Resist him, standing firm, and so deny him. This verse tells us to submit ourselves to God and resist the devil. When we submit ourselves to God, we are asking for his help in resisting temptation and evil. We are acknowledging that we are not perfect and that we need God's help to overcome the bad things in life. When we resist the devil, we are saying no to temptation and evil. We are choosing to follow God's path instead. And when we stand firm in our resistance, the devil will eventually give up and go away. 1 Peter 5:5. Likewise, you younger people, submit yourselves therefore to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee. This verse is specifically directed towards young people. It is telling them to submit themselves to God and resist the devil. As young people, we are especially vulnerable to temptation and evil. We are at a time in our lives when we are figuring out who we are and what we believe in. We are also under a lot of pressure to conform to the standards of society. Amidst all these challenges, it is important to remember that we are not alone. We have God on our side. If we submit ourselves to him and resist temptation, he will help us to overcome. As mentioned earlier, having an out-of-control ego can lead to many problems in your personal and professional life. It is important to be aware of the signs of an out-of-control ego so that you can work on correcting it. Ask yourself, does your ego need a check? Remember, you are more valuable than you think. Now, go. Be great.